This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Rejoice and be glad, the psalmist sings. This could it be, the most countercultural message in 2022? And I'm going to be a little grinchy by insisting the invitation on this Sunday is meant to perplex us and mess with us a bit. God invites joy to overflow. God invites joy to overflow in us. Some would say it is naive to rejoice when we look at the state of our current world. How can we be glad when we look at the nitty-gritty of our death-oriented culture? Gun violence, polarization, COVID, ignorance, racism, climate change, wars, poverty, divided families, addiction, abuses, mass incarceration, and the massive list goes on. Do not misunderstand this invitation as an excuse to wave an invisible wand and place heads in the sand, pretending there is nothing we can do to aid our world's healing. For our action and inaction either despoil or energize our connections to each other. The Magnificat, Mary's song in the Gospel of Luke exalts, "My soul proclaims God's greatness, O God, and my spirit rejoices in God my Savior. You have deposed the mighty from their thrones and raised the lowly to high places." Mary's song is good news for the poor and bad news for the powerful, preacher and writer Ashley Wilcox declares. The God who Mary knows turns the expectations of the world upside down. This is not something that will happen at some future date. Mary says that God has already done this. These are not nice and gentle words. Mary prophetically announces social, political, and economic upheaval and a complete reversal of the power structure. Even in her youthful state, the mother of Jesus fiercely proclaims joy-filled and prophetic song, rooted in ancient wisdom. We are invited to remember this root and to radiate joy and sing her song with her, recalling God's faithfulness. Go and report to John what you hear and see. Those who are blind recover their sight. Those who cannot walk are able to walk. Those with leprosy are cured. Those who are deaf hear. The dead are raised to life. And the Anawim, the have-nots, have the good news preached to them, Jesus tells John's disciples in today's gospel. Blessed is the one who finds no stumbling block in me. What word or healing from Jesus do we seek individually or as a people today? Who are the have-nots in our midst who are in darkness and have lost hope? Can we locate ourselves in the world's systems and power structures? Are we the lowly or the mighty? Somewhere in between. At this point in the Advent season, we have to be intentional about listening for the ancient wisdom we are invited to glean. The hustle and bustle of our culture at Christmas is noisy, busy, demanding. People of ripened faith might recognize Advent as the more fruitful and joyful time of the year, a faith born through struggle, giving birth to God's abundant life. Isaiah's words call out to us now, inviting us to a fullness foreign to our understanding. The desert and the parched land will exult. The steppe will rejoice and bloom. They will see the glory of the Lord, the splendor of our God. Say to those who are frightened, be strong, fear not. Those whom the Lord has ransomed will return and enter Zion singing, crowned with everlasting joy. They will meet with joy and gladness. Sorrow and mourning will flee. Ha! I hope so, because this is a time of sorrow and mourning too, but we're invited to joy and gladness. And the epistle reminds us to be patient and make our hearts firm because the coming of the Lord is at hand. Teilhard de Chardin, the Jesuit, famously proclaimed, someday, after mastering the winds, the waves, the tides, and gravity, We shall harness for God the energies of love. And then, for a second time in the history of the world, humanity will have discovered fire. Today, God graces each of us to overflow with joy, open to hope, live in love. The invitation then is to stay a little longer with the prayers and the pruning Advent beckons. So when the time is ripe, like Mary, we too will be radiant with joy. We will be radiant with joy. We will radiate joy.